This is DD India. You're watching Express News, a program where we bring you top 100 news of the day. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Let's begin. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is on a visit to India and met External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen started her India visit by paying homage to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. India's President Draupadi Murmu addressed the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad city of western state of Gujarat at its 44th convocation. Earlier, the President visited the Statue of Unity at Kevadia town and paid tribute to the Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. President Murmu also visited Sardar Sarovar Dam and Jungle Safari Park at Ekta Nagar in the Narmada district, accompanied by the state governor. As the Mahakumbh concluded, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi shared a post on X and described it as a Mahayagya of unity that reflects India's rich spiritual and cultural heritage. India's Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav visited the Integrated Command and Control Centre, which was set up for smooth crowd management through continuous monitoring during the Mahakumbh 2025. The minister also met the railway employees and other CISF personnel and lauded their contribution towards efficient functioning of railways. Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh Yogi Adityanath attended the Dialogue program in Prayagraj on Thursday and highlighted that over 65 crore people had visited the state's various pilgrimage sites. Earlier, the Chief Minister performed Ganga Aarti at Sangam following the culmination of Mahakumbh. The Chief Minister also participated in a cleanliness drive. India's Finance and Corporate Affairs Minister Nirmala Sitharaman inaugurated the second edition of the Business Standards Annual Summit called Manthan in New Delhi on Thursday. While addressing the summit, the minister lauded India's economic development under Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma announced that the Advantage Assam 2.0 Summit received investment proposals worth approximately 4.5 lakh crore rupees as it successfully concluded on Wednesday. India's Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal inaugurated the Bharat Calling Conference 2025 in Mumbai on Thursday. The conference offers unparalleled opportunities for investment across diverse sectors. While addressing the conference, Piyush Goyal said that there are huge opportunities unfolding in the country. Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways Sarbanand Sonowal addressed the post-budget 2025 stakeholder interaction workshop on Thursday and said that India is moving towards Viksit Bharat. Former NASA astronaut Mike Massimino visited a Kendriya Vidyalaya in Delhi and praised India's space journey. Former US House Chief Administrative Officer Scott Faulkner visited the Pradhan Mantri Sangralaya, a museum in tribute to all former Prime Ministers of India in New Delhi. India's capital Delhi is hosting for the first time the International Radiobiology Conference from February 27th to March 1st to discuss the impact of galactic cosmic rays on astronauts, which can cause severe health risks, including cancer and cognitive decline. 27 Indian fishermen who were arrested in Sri Lanka for alleged cross-border fishing were released on Thursday and arrived in the southern state of Tamil Nadu's capital, Chennai. In business news, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange saw a marginal change and closed up 10 points at 74,612. Indian equity indices ended on a flat note with Nifty at the National Stock Exchange ending at 22,550. At the Forex market, the Indian rupee ended flat at 87 rupees 19 paise against the dollar on Thursday. Gold futures maturing on April 4th were priced at 85,230 rupees per 10 grams on the multi-commodity exchange. Silver futures for March 5th maturity stood at 94,455 rupees per kilo on the MCX. Crude oil prices fell on Thursday as it trades at $68.53 per barrel. The Indian cable and wire industry has grown from 68% in fiscal year 2019 to 73% in fiscal year 2024 and is set for significant growth in exports. Global home furnishings giant IKEA has announced its entry into North India with the launch of online deliveries in Delhi NCR and 9 satellite cities starting March 1st. Amazon on Wednesday unveiled its AI-powered version of its Alexa voice assistant. The new Alexa Plus can chat with users and respond to multiple prompts in sequence. Germany's Munich and Hamburg airports were hit by strikes by public sector union Verdi on Thursday and Friday, with airlines cancelling about 80% of flights in Munich. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has instructed his negotiation delegation to depart for Cairo on Thursday to continue Gaza ceasefire talks. Hamas handed over bodies of 4 Israeli captives in exchange of hundreds of prisoners and said that it was ready to start talks on the second phase of the truce. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will meet President Donald Trump on Thursday. Starmer stressed that there is no more important relationship for the UK than the one it has with the United States. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be visiting Washington on Friday to strike a minerals deal with the United States and discuss future aid with President Trump. Zelensky said on Wednesday that security guarantees were vital ahead of talks in Washington on Friday over a mineral resources deal. EU Council President Antonio Costa on Thursday invited Zelensky to the special summit of EU leaders on March 6th to discuss future support for Ukraine. US President Donald Trump said on Wednesday that his administration will soon announce a 25% tariff on imports from the European Union. Reacting to this, the European Commission stated that it will react firmly and immediately against unjustified barriers to free and fair trade, adding that Europe stands for dialogue, openness, and reciprocity. Trump on Wednesday raised hopes for another month-long pause on steep new tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada, saying they could take effect on April 2nd. Trump's administration on Wednesday ordered federal agencies to undertake more large-scale layoffs of workers after their first cabinet meeting. Russian and US officials are in Istanbul for talks on resolving diplomatic issues as the two countries aim to restore ties. Permanent mission of India to the UN in Geneva, Kshitij Tyagi on Thursday strongly criticized Pakistan at the 58th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council, labeling it as a failed state that thrives on instability and survives on international handouts. The anti-discrimination student movement and the Jatiya Nagrik Committee in Bangladesh, who were at the forefront of last year's protests that ousted the then Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, are set to launch a political party on Friday. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is set to visit Bangladesh from March 13th to 16th, following an invitation from the head of Bangladesh's interim government, Dr. Muhammad Yunus. The United Nations World Food Programme has temporarily stopped distributing food aid in a famine-struck camp for displaced people in Sudan's North Darfur. Lebanon's new government has won a confidence vote in parliament following a speech by Prime Minister Nawaf Salam promising to push for economic reforms and to start negotiations with the International Monetary Fund. Syria's interim president Ahmad al-Shara met with Jordan's King Abdullah II in Amman on his third foreign visit since ousting Bashar al-Assad. Both discussed security along their shared border and the return of Syrian refugees. Taiwan's defense ministry reported a surge in Chinese military activity on Wednesday, but officials said that they did not detect any live fire exercises in a drill zone off the island's southwestern coast. New Zealand has also raised concerns over China's recent live-fire military drills in the Tasman Sea on Wednesday as the Foreign Minister Winston Peters addressed the issue during meetings with Chinese leaders. The Vatican on Thursday said that Pope Francis slept well overnight and is resting. People held a prayer service outside Rome's hospital where Pope Francis is being treated for double pneumonia. We're heading for a short break here on DD India. We'll be back with Express News in just a bit. Stay tuned.
What do you make of how India is dealing with the AI landscape right now? It has an AI mission, so it wants to develop AI to the kind of advantages that it can deliver, and also at the same time, it is in the process of working out an AI law.
It's a matter for India it's a sovereign decision for India to determine which approach it takes, whether it takes the regulation-free model or believes that there are risks inherent in AI and that they need to be mitigated and society needs to be protected from those.
In a world increasingly shaped by climate challenges, we are all exposed to new risks. But efforts are being made to tackle these challenges.
Once you have per square kilometer accurate data, they will start mobilizing actions, and the top-down folks, will have an ability to focus on specific parts where the problem is.
By using locally grown food, we can not only reduce our impact on the climate, but also prevent lifestyle diseases.
I think this is extremely important to have this kind of community level engagement. And some of these awareness programs I am aware of are also providing some individual level strategy to really adapt to the situations.
We have community radio stations. We also have door-to-door information drives.
Welcome back to Express News on DD India. Let's resume. Global talks to protect nature restarted on Tuesday with a call for humanity to come together to sustain life on the planet. Negotiators meeting at the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization FAO headquarters in Rome are tasked with breaking a deadlock on funding between the rich and the developing countries. Wildfire in northern Japan killed one and damages over 80 buildings were reported, and evacuation of hundreds of residents was also reported. Military helicopters were mobilized to try and douse the flames raging in forested areas of Ufunato in the northern region of Iwate. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano resumes with towering fountains of lava shooting nearly 600 feet into the air. The US Geological Survey officials have warned about the possible wind-blown volcanic glass impacting Hawaii Volcanoes National Park and nearby communities. Heavy snowfall has been recorded in the upper reaches of India's Bandipora, including Gurez Valley, Baktur, Kansalvan and Tulale Valley. Fresh snowfall has caused road closures in Bandipora as temperatures continue to stay below the freezing point. Razdan Pass has accumulated approximately 3 feet of snow. Residents in Delhi woke up to a drizzle on Thursday morning with the minimum temperature recorded at 19.5 degrees Celsius. Weather officials issued a yellow alert for the national capital region, anticipating light rain coupled with thunderstorm. Delhi is likely to witness more showers in the coming days. India Meteorological Department has forecast rain and snowfall across northern state of Himachal Pradesh for the next 2 days. India Meteorological Department has also issued a heat wave warning for Dakshin Kannada, Udupi and Uttar Kannada districts in southern state of Karnataka till Friday. An earthquake of magnitude 5.1 struck India's Assam in the early hours of Thursday, sending tremors across the northeastern state and neighbouring countries. The tremors, which occurred at 2:25 a.m. Indian Standard Time, were felt in Guwahati, Shillong and other parts of Assam, as well as in Bangladesh, Bhutan and China. Indigenous leaders and human rights defenders staged an artistic protest in Guatemala City using a blue fabric to represent the country's waterways. The protesting indigenous leaders demanded the protection of the country's rivers and lakes, emphasizing the importance of including indigenous perspectives in national water legislation. NASA's Lunar Trailblazer satellite has launched on a mission to uncover water sources on the moon's surface. The satellite, carried by a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, aims to identify and map water in permanently shadowed craters of the lunar poles. Srinagar Heritage Festival Son Miraz was organized by the District Administration of Srinagar to celebrate and revive the rich cultural heritage of Jammu and Kashmir. The event took place at Kashmir Heart Exhibition Ground, attracting visitors eager to explore the region's traditional arts, crafts and way of life. The 3-day agro-tech Mela titled Gongul was organized for the benefit of farmers, growers and young entrepreneurs in Srinagar. Thousands of people, especially farmers, growers and young entrepreneurs, thronged to the Gongul Mela to learn about latest technologies. Jwala, who was brought to India's Kuno National Park from Namibia, and her 4 cubs were released into the wild from their enclosures to test their adaptability and survival instincts. Designer creates lavish costumes for the Bolivia Carnival. The designer has recycled plastics and 3D prints adorned with sequins in her designed costumes. The Oruro Carnival 2025 runs from February 22nd until March 4th. Dozens of groups, dancers, musicians and artists will parade to the rhythm of traditional dances at the carnival. Myanmar's Ministry of Information organized a traditional Hatamane making competition in Naypyidaw to preserve cultural traditions and strengthen team spirit. Myanmar's Union Minister and other officials participated in the event. The lively contest included drummers, dancers and singers. Little Munchkins, dressed up in national costumes, sang songs and performed traditional dances to celebrate the National Costume Day in Ulaanbaatar. People gathered in Japan's Aomori to dig out and taste apples stored in snow that were stored to boost sweetness. About 30 people took part in the annual event on Wednesday and used shovels to remove the snow surrounding the wooden crates containing 30,000 bright red Sun Fuji apples. Chinese live-action fantasy epic Creation of Gods 2 Demon Force officially opened in nearly 100 cinemas in France, the largest release of a Chinese language film in the country this year. The satirical short film Johann Sacrebleu has gained over 3 million views in Mexico within a month of its release on YouTube. A concert film of Pink Floyd performing in Pompeii will be re-released in cinemas and IMAX on April 24th. The film was originally shot in 1971. The concert film of Pink Floyd will include a 90-minute cut combining performance footage with documentary segments. The enhanced soundtrack will be released on May 2nd. Two-time Oscar winner Gene Hackman and his wife were found dead in their home in New Mexico. There was no immediate indication of foul play. On to sports news. Pakistan ended their campaign in the Champions Trophy without a win after rain washed out their dead rubber against Bangladesh in Rawalpindi on Thursday. Buoyant Afghanistan will take on Australia in the Group B match of Champions Trophy in a bid to secure semi-final spot on Friday in Lahore. Opener Ibrahim Zadran's century and 5 wickets by Azmatullah Omarzai helped Afghanistan knock England out of the Champions Trophy with a thrilling 8-run victory. Afghanistan's Ibrahim Zadran etched his name in the history with a sensational knock of 177 of 146 deliveries, which is the highest individual score in the history of ICC Champions Trophy. Mumbai Indians breezed past UP Warriors and moved to the top of the table with an 8-wicket win in the Women's Premier League on Wednesday. Kevin Peterson has been appointed as mentor of Delhi Capitals ahead of the upcoming IPL season. The 44-year-old returns to the side he captained in 2014. International Olympic Committee President Thomas Bach will step down as member of the Olympic body after handing over charge to his successor in June this year. Unbeaten in 24 league games, Liverpool opened up a 13-point lead in the Premier League with a 2-0 victory over Newcastle United. Goals in each half by Dominic Szoboszlai and Alexis Mac Allister helped Liverpool see off Newcastle in their Premier League match by 2-0. Liverpool manager Arne Slot has been given a 2-game suspension for his inappropriate behaviour during Premier League match against Everton on February 12th. Defending Premier League champions Manchester City defeated Tottenham Hotspur 1-0 to return to the top 4 in the table. Manchester City's Erling Haaland became the second player to score at least 20 goals in each of his first 3 Premier League seasons. Arsenal's faint title hopes dimmed even further after it was held to a draw by Nottingham Forest despite dominating Wednesday's encounter in the Premier League. Top seed Daniil Medvedev booked his spot in the Dubai Tennis Championships quarterfinals following a straight sets win over Frenchman Givioni Mepchi-Perricard. The International Olympic Committee has granted provisional recognition to World Boxing, which is a major step towards the sport's inclusion in the 2028 Olympics. So that's it in this edition of Express News. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.